Am I late to this party? Y'all didn't tell me something like this was going on. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for stopping by once again. I'm so excited and I can't wait to get into this video. Special shout outs, credits to all those in this video. I mean, it's about to get interesting. So, in today's video,
Hi, white woman here. I'd like to talk about the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl performance. It was absolute perfection in every way. The artistry, the symbolism, the music. Here's the thing. Even if it wasn't your type of music, it was still really, really amazing how each song with the performance meshed together with the message. The opening sequence when he was on the car and then he was in the middle of the flag, the way I looked at that was America was built on the backs of Black people, slaves. That's how America was built. Okay. And that's how I took that scene. And when he said 40 acres and a mule, I didn't know that that's what was offered to slaves. I had no idea, because guess what? I wasn't taught that. And the one thing for someone like me, I grew up in white America, Southwest Pennsylvania. Okay. Like 90% of my area is white people. So I grew up, the only reference I have for Black culture is through music. I grew up with Tupac, Dr. Dre, NWA, Ice Cube, Mystical, and Master P, even Biggie and Puff Daddy. I mean, I hate to say that, but that was just like growing up in the 90s, right? Like those were who a lot of people listened to. My first major news story was Rodney King. That's how I was introduced to how Black people are treated in America. Like Black music for someone like me, I used it as like a learning tool. Like, oh my God, I had no idea this was going on. Like, oh my God, this is what I should, learn more about. Like I took it as education. Obviously I liked the music, but I actually listened to what was being said, and then as much research as I could do at the time, talking to friends or whatever, and, reading, going to the library, going through the card catalog, reading about things, because we were never taught things in school. I was taught that George Washington had wooden teeth, had no idea that he had teeth made from his slaves. Like, no idea, because we weren't taught that. So I used Black music to teach me. And I also want to say, for the white people out there, that Super Bowl was for the Black community. That was for Black people. It was to us. We need to take that and we need to learn from it, because that messaging and that symbolism was so important. We cannot let that slip away from us to learn from and do better. Kendrick Lamar gave us an assignment. Let's fucking take it, okay?
I didn't watch the game, but I watched the halftime show because I really like Kendrick Lamar. I have a 25 and 23-year-old daughters, right? So I gave them a musical education. They gave me a musical education. And I'll never forget the first time that they played him in the car like 10 years ago. And I went, who is this? Who is this? And they told me, and I was like, play more, play more. And now I love it, because when they're DJing in the car, especially my youngest daughter, she'll put them on because she knows I really like them. I want to make a point. I know everybody is doing their deep philosophical takes on the halftime show, but this is just something that occurred to me many, many, many years ago. A person in my life who is no longer in my life, but is now MAGA, right? That didn't exist back then, but we were at a museum looking at art, and it became clear very quickly that in her mind, the only function of art is to be beautiful. That's it. There is no other function of art. Like, if you have to think about it, or if it's even remotely ugly, she completely dismissed its value. And she was like, why would anyone want to look at art that's not beautiful? And I'm like, and I loved my art history classes in college. And so I'm trying in earnest to help her understand why art isn't just to be pretty and to make us happy. Now, here's the point. The halftime show is just another example of people like her, who we now have a term for them. We call them MAGA or MAGA. And that is, they don't want to think. They only want a thing to be the thing. If it's beyond that, they get angry and they get mad and they get frustrated. So last night, all the halftime show for someone with that kind of brain, all it's meant to do is sing and dance and entertain. That's it. Anything beyond that is too much for their little brains. And not only is it too much, it makes them mad. It pisses them off that they have to think, that they have to go, ooh, is there like a deeper message to this? Now, I think he did a really good job of making some of the messages not so obtuse that it gets lost. I think some of it was maybe a little obvious. I don't know. But they don't like that. They don't, especially when it comes to Black and brown people, don't do anything other than entertain me, give me a good experience, and then you go off and do your thing. They don't want any Black or brown person to actually challenge us or cause us to think or to wonder or to ask questions or to no. And they would see doing that at a halftime show as extremely inappropriate to do, because your job is to just entertain us. So anyways, I don't know if that matters. But it's just something that struck me this morning, is that they're so surface level, they're so one-dimensional, that to think deeply about these things. And this is a guy who won a Pulitzer Prize for his lyrics, right? So he's obviously going to make us think. But they don't like it. It pisses them off. And just one more thing. I love all of this was happening in New Orleans. I don't know why, but that gave me a lot of satisfaction. And I nearly fell out of my seat when I saw Serena Williams. I could not believe it. I was telling my daughter, I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's Serena Williams doing the crip walk. And I was like, she dated Drake, because I'm chronically online. And she was like, yes, Mom, I know. She's like, okay, take a deep breath. Anyways, it was great.
Guys, okay, so I'm not even a Kendrick Lamar's fan. Okay, I see him. Okay, I know he does good work, but I don't listen to his songs. Not for personal beef, I just don't listen to his songs. But I just kept seeing, when I go on the internet after the Super Bowl, okay, when I go on the internet, I just keep seeing these notifications, Kendrick Lamar this, Kendrick Lamar that. And I was like, okay, let me dig deep. Okay, guys. I was blown away. So at first, when I listened to the song, I didn't get the message. All right. It was just a beautiful performance. Okay. Beautiful music, beautiful choreography, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then the problem started when I went to the comment section. Okay. You trust people to decipher and dissect information. Guys, I read a lot. All right. I read a lot and discovered a lot, that performance was not just a performance. Okay. It was a message specifically for the Black community. All right. And it's Black History Month. Message that hits the nail on the head. A message that actually said a lot. It's like a message spoken in a performance. And the sweetest part of this is that those white folks are supporting him. Gosh.
A Southern white woman's take on the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance at the Super Bowl. Here we go. I loved it. I don't even listen to his music. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some kind of mega fan. I don't know most of his stuff. But oh my Lord, when he came out and said, the revolution will be televised, the right time, the wrong guy, oh my God. I understood the assignment. He literally had such beautiful symbolism threaded through his entire performance, from Serena Williams, crip walking, to Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, the American flag divided, the dancers who performed and did the, move where they have their backs up to show how America was built on the backs of Black Americans who were treated unjustly for so many years. Man, he killed it. And the subliminal messaging and symbolism just went right over all of MAGA's head. But those who were supposed to get the assignment got the assignment. I got the assignment.
One of the lines that has become clear to me in Kendrick Lamar's performance last night is 40 acres and a mule. And that line is particularly potent for many Black Americans. And it happens to be a line that I remember from my education growing up in grade school in the Bronx. And I vaguely remember what it was about. It was something that was promised enslaved people. I can't remember whether I was told it was before or after emancipation, but it had to do with the Civil War. And I've since had my memory refreshed, and it was something that the federal government promised enslaved people that they would get, and it would help them get a head start. But as with many promises given to Native Americans, they didn't come through. And I never really equated 40 acres and a mule because it was not something that really ever touched my life. But in thinking about it this morning, I never really equated it with something else that was very important to American life, which was the Homestead Act. Now, if you don't recall the Homestead Act, for some reason, there's a lot of American history that was that really stayed with me. And the Homestead Act was an act that the federal government felt was extremely important because they wanted to populate the Midwestern part of our country, the prairie. And so they offered 160 acres free and clear to people who would farm the land, ranch the land. I guess it was really only good for farming, but they would give free and clear 160 acres to people, and they had mapped out a huge swath of prairie land. And it was white people who took that land, and that's how a lot of our Midwest cities came into being. And they didn't rescind that promise. They gave 160 acres to people free and clear. And all they had to do was stake it out. And this may be apocryphal, but I seem to remember in class hearing how there was a date and they had people lining up and they set off a bell and you could just go and stake out your plot of land and it was yours and you could farm it. And that was the beginning of generational wealth for a lot of white people. A lot of these people came from Germany and Middle European countries, and they got a stake in this country. And here we have enslaved people who were brought over against their will and finally released from bondage and promised for their servitude they would be given 40 acres and a mule, and a mule, and they got nothing. And they had to start from scratch. Just a thought. Think about that. Think about how you'd feel if that promise was made to you and then you were just blown off. Okay, that's it. See you next time.
Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show was racist. There wasn't a single white performer.
I thought you wanted this country to be a meritocracy.
That wasn't a performance based on merit. It was a DEI performance. The Super Bowl should have hired someone like Kid Rock to perform.
Kendrick Lamar has won multiple Grammys and a Pulitzer Prize. What qualifications does Kid Rock have?
It's not about qualifications.
That's what a meritocracy is.
It's about the children. Imagine how all the white kids who were looking forward to the Super Bowl halftime show feel after not seeing themselves represented in it.
White people are already overrepresented in positions of power, in those who hold the most generational wealth, in our corporations, in media. I'm pretty positive that white kids will not feel like their skin color will prevent them from doing certain things just because they weren't represented in the Super Bowl halftime show this year. Plus, I thought you hated representation. You freaked out when Ariel in The Little Mermaid was played by a black actress.
You're a race traitor.
Whatever, Grandpa. It's time for you to take your meds and go to bed.
Guys, I don't want to know what anybody thinks, especially black people that are against this performance. All right, it's just amazing because this actually happened in Black History Month, and either you like it or not, history was taught all over again. I mean, no matter the amount of knowledge you think you have in history, history was taught over again. I mean, I learned a lot of things. I mean, I had to watch the video again after reading so many comments to actually get the message again and see it from that light. And I'm like, this is deeper than we thought. And it's so I don't even know the language to use, because some black people actually came out to say, how can you call that a performance, this and that. Somebody even went ahead to say that performance is DEI. How can you do something like that? You don't put the white folks there. Every performer was black, this and that and this. It's true what people say, that the aunt's enemies are those of his household. Okay? You might need to watch your back because you don't know who is going to stab you in the back. I mean, if not for anything, you should support your own. But I mean, that's the season we are in, right? We are finding out. And I think it's magas that are most especially angry at this video, because we all know who the message is being passed to. Let me know what you guys think about this video, because social media is on fire. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot. Let me know what you think in the comment section, guys. I'll see you in my next video. And please don't forget to stay safe. Ciao.